there, welcome this week to the 21st Century Read Aloud. My name is Miss Winakur. I'm so excited for you guys to join us today. Again, I'm Miss Winakur. This is 21st Century in Pasco. So today we're going to be reading a book called The Koala Who Could, written by Rachel Bright and illustrated by Jim Field. And I just want you to look. I really love read alouds with just beautiful pictures, and the way that Jim Field has illustrated this book, the pictures are just so detailed and amazing. So today's objective, we are going to be making inferences, which is a comprehension strategy. Basically, it's a strategy so you can remember what you read. So an inference is something that a reader figures out about a story that the author doesn't tell you. So you can use your background knowledge, your schema, and text clues to better understand the story. So background knowledge or schema is basically everything you already know or is in your head. And text clues, so that's evidence in the text or things that are shown in the pictures. When you are talking about dogs and you know a bunch about dogs, you're using your schema and you're inferencing, oh, dogs need food so that they could survive. And today we're going to be using inferences to figure out our main character, Kevin, who has a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset's when you have a that's the way it is and you're not going to change at all attitude. So we're going to watch about how his mindset changes from the beginning of the book until the end of the book. So thank you for joining me, and I'm so excited for you guys to listen to our read aloud. All right, let's start our book, The Koala That Could, again, written by Rachel Bright and illustrated by Jim Field. In a wonderful place where the day was just dawning and the breezes blew soft on a warm golden morning, in a place where the creatures ran wild and played free, a koala called Kevin clung to a tree. Do you guys see Kevin right there? A nice gray fellow you never would meet, as soft thing from ear tufts 2 feet. So if you look at his ear tufts, I want you to notice, look how big a koala's ears are. His favorite way was to relax in the sun, was to cling and to nap and to munch a leaf bum. Have you guys ever clinged to something? So clinging means holding something really tight. I know when I wake up from the night and from in the morning when I wake up, I cling to my pillow because I don't want to get out of bed. I'm sure we feel like that during quarantine. After all this, well, he'd need a nice rest. Yes, Kevin liked sticking to what he knew best. So I want you to think, when we're talking about sticking to what he knew best, what kind of mindset is that? Have you guys ever just thought you were right and didn't want to change your mind and you just did what you're used to doing? That's called a fixed mindset. You see, high up was safe since he liked a slow pace, while the ground down below seemed like a frightening place, too fast and too loud and too big and too strange. Nope, Kevin preferred not to move or to change. So he clung to his tree as he knew what to do, and he was never too keen to try anything new. So when a wombat stopped by and shouted one day, "Hey Kevin, why don't you come down and play?" Look at Kevin's face. So I'm making an inference even before I read the next page. So look at his face. He looks like he's frightened because this is what he says. I think, he replied, I should stay on my plant. I'm busy right now. No, I'm sorry, I can't. So I'm making inference. I'm using my schema. I know that koalas like to stay on trees and they like to climb and they don't often come down to the ground. So that's using my schema because I already knew that information. And now I'm making an inference because we know that Kevin does not like to go down to the ground. Why not? Cried the ruse, set with a super loud cheer. Yes, why? Called the dingoes. There's nothing to fear. So now we have Ruse and Dingoes, and all of them want Kevin to come play. But Kevin, who'd never been the one to act fast, said, "I've clinging to do, but it's so nice that you've asked." Again, we're going to look at Kevin's face. Look at it. He looks terrified. I want you to go ahead and turn and talk. I want you to pause this video and I want you to think or answer the question, why do you think Kevin is so terrified? Use your inferences. So look at the pictures. What makes you think he is so terrified? We can use picture clues. We can also use text evidence. As Kevin started watching them chatter and share, a part of him wished he could join in down there. So we're going to use our inference again. We know that Kevin already, based on the text evidence and the picture clues, does not like to go down from his plant. How do you think he's feeling? Watching all of those friends having a great time without him. Turn and talk. I want you to turn and talk to the person who you're watching this with. What do you think Kevin's feeling? If I were Kevin, I would be feeling left out. And I just inferenced. I inferenced him feeling left out based on the picture of the people or the animals having a really good time without him. And also on the next page, but he knew he'd miss home. It was so dark and so late. The whole thing was risky. Adventure could wait. Whatever the invite, he'd always say no. Oh dear, it seemed Kevin. So look what happened to him. Let's find out and see what happened. What do you think is going to happen? So we can use our picture clue and the text evidence to inference that crocodile might hurt him. Just couldn't let go. But if we go back to the page, the crocodile's not going to hurt him because that's what he thought would happen to him if he were to try to climb down off of his plant and join his friends. But Kevin couldn't let go. I'm going to inference and say he looks sad because look at his face. It's sad. I used my picture clue to figure that inference out. So his life was the same no matter the day. The weeks came and went and the months rolled away, and Kevin stayed still while the world moved around until he awoke to a whirring sound. So Kevin's just doing his same old thing in the day and same old thing in the night. What do you think the sound he heard was? Let's find out. Ooh, I love when authors turn the pictures like this. It gives me so much excitement. Tap, tap, the sound went. Well, this is a blow. Tappity, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Oh, no. So what do you think is happening to this woodpecker? And I used my schema just now to decide that this was a woodpecker because I noticed that he was pecking at this tree and that is wood. So again, we can use our schema and picture clues and text evidence to make inferences all throughout the book that we're reading. Uncling, the crowd called, which had gathered below. Leap and we'll catch you. Just let yourself go. But Kevin was scared. Let go. No, I shan't. I won't, shouted Kevin. Oh dear, I just... Uh-oh. So what is the woodpecker doing? In this picture, he's still pecking at that tree. I want you to make an inference. What is happening to the tree as these 4 pictures are happening? And you can use your picture clues to see, oh goodness, the tree is about to fall down. Can't! Woof! Down came the tree. And with it was bringing crash and a wallop. And Kevin still clinging. So I'm just going to make an inference. Because all of this happened based on the text and based on the pictures we've seen so far, he still will not give up. clinging to this tree. All right, so now what does it look like? To me, I'm going to use an inference and say, oh, I inference that he's on the ground now. Look at his face. He kind of looks relieved. Kevin, he carefully opened one eye and looked up the love staring down from the sky. Then one paw by one paw, he loosened his hold. He felt springy and light and happy and bold. The worst he could think of had now just come to pass, and he was just fine. Why, he felt quite first class. So when Wombat leaned over and held his paw out, Kevin no longer felt worry or doubt. So he wasn't anxious or nervous anymore. Look, what do you think he's gonna do? Looks like to me he's gonna shake the Wombat's hand. When Dingo asked, now you will come out and play, the crowd all joined with a, what do you say? And even though this wasn't part of his plan, Kevin replied, yes, I think that I can. And Kevin, from now on, always had the can do. Because life could be great when you try something new. Let's make an inference about Kevin. At the beginning of this story, the text said that he always just liked the same thing. And now, look at his face. He looks like he can take over the world and do anything he puts his mind to. So his mindset went from fixed to growth. And now he's got that I can attitude, which is one that will always try new things. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, we reviewed inferences. And in order to make an inference, that was something that the author doesn't necessarily just tell you. You make assumptions about characters. So we assumed that Kevin really just didn't like to try anything new because he told all of the animals no every single time they invited him to play. And then at the end of the story, when something, the woodpecker started pecking at his tree and then it ended up falling over, what happened? Kevin opened his eyes and changed his mind. And we all used our schema and our picture clues and text evidence to infer that Kevin did change his mind and he went from having a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. I want to thank you for joining us today during our 21st Century Read Aloud, and I hope all of you guys stay home, stay safe, and healthy. Thank you.